Hi, I'm Danny and these are my Diecast Disasters. In this video I'm going to be going back to Hazzard County and restoring a couple of Dukes of Hazzard's Generalese. These two cars were sent to me by my main man Nathan over in Australia. He also sent me the Batmobile and the Crack Ups Taxi. They were pretty cool projects, so hopefully this will be cool as well. These were produced by Ertl from 1981. There were some other Dukes of Hazzard's cars. There was Boss Hogg's limo, which I have already restored. There was Cooter's truck and Daisy Duke's ute, and also Roscoe's police car. It'll be nice to get my hands on the rest of them at some point and restore those as well, so I'm keeping my eyes open. The Dukes of Hazzard was definitely one of my favourite shows when I was a child. It was a pretty standard issue viewing. Along with Knight Rider and the A-Team. There wasn't a whole heap of choice back then, you can just watch whatever you want, so these action shows were pretty desirable viewing for us young kids. So let's take a closer look at them off of the turntable. This is the more faded one. It's really seen a bit of action. The paint is a bit worn, but mainly it's just really faded orange. The roof decals are missing and the side decals are really faded. The chrome is all wearing off of the plastic base. Tyres aren't actually too shabby on this one. And our other generally, the paint is definitely not as faded, but it's more chipped. You can see the side decals are actually in quite decent condition on this one, but the roof decal is still missing. Again, there's a lot of chrome rubbed off of the base. The wheels are a lot more worn on this one, and as you can see the base is a little bit warped, like maybe it was melted at some point, or maybe it was just a poor quality casting, which wouldn't really surprise me with these old Ertl toys. I drill out the two rivets on each car and take them apart. Note that this one has some thin wheel pillars in it and a solid tab on the front of the interior. And this one has thicker wheel pillars and a notch in the front of the interior. Ooh, there's some gross glue or something in there. I hope it's glue. Now I can use some poly stripper to strip the paint off of the castings. I just paint it on, it wrinkles up the paint, and then I can wash it off with some water. Good old fairly oxidized castings, as I would expect from the 80s. The detail on them is okay. It's better than a lot of the Hot Wheels cars from the same period that I've got. But it's quite a thin casting, whereas the Hot Wheels ones were a bit thicker and tougher perhaps. I use a wire brush on my rotary tool to clean them up, removing the oxidation and any remaining paint. Here they are, cleaned up a bit and ready for some paint. I just give them a wash and some ISO, and then I paint them with some white primer. And here they are after a coat of white primer. You can see the detail a little bit better now. Happy with this, I paint them orange. Here are some decals that I've made. I needed to have some white in these decals, so it's printed on white decal sheet. I printed orange around the numbers, and I use a nice new blade on my craft knife to cut them out. Here they are cut out as best I can. I've left the orange on the inside of the 0. Now I can put them onto the side of the car. Once all my decals had been applied, I gave them a coat of gloss. Onto the bases now. I'm going to have to remove all of that remaining chrome off of them. I do this with a jar of hot water from the tap and a spoonful of caustic soda. In go the bases, and I leave them for a few minutes. Here they are a few minutes later. You can see virtually all the chrome is gone from them. And here they are after being dried off. So there's not a whole heap I can do to fix this sort of deformed base, but I'll fix that notch that's missing out of the back. And the other base is in better condition underneath, but it has a missing little chunk out of the grill there. So I'm going to fix both of these with some fast setting epoxy putty. Once I was happy enough with my fixes, I spray painted them both in silver. The windscreens are looking a bit grubby. Apart from that, they're not in too bad a condition, but they are not feeling very tough. They feel a bit brittle with age, particularly this one. There we go. Tiny bit has broken off with me barely touching it. I use a carving tool to remove these little blobs of glue or whatever it is off of the windscreen. And there goes another little bit of it popping off just with the gentle pressure of me keeping it lined up on the mat. So I carefully use a little bit of my Starbond super glue to reattach those little chips. Then I just give the windscreens a really good wash in some soapy water. I'm not going to do anything else to them because I don't want to risk damaging them further. So this is the decent looking pair of wheels. They're just missing a little bit of chrome off of them really. So I'll just replace that and reuse them. And this other pair is looking a lot more play worn. The tyres are quite scuffed and the rims are more beaten up. So I'm going to replace these with these cool Hot Wheels wheels, which aren't actually too far off the original ones the car had if they had more spokes. And lastly, the interiors. They're both actually in really good nick. They're just a bit filthy, so I give them a wash in some hot soapy water. And here they are. I'm not going to have to do anything to those. They look almost brand new. And here are all of our parts for our two Ertl Generalies, refurbished, repainted and ready to go back together. Before we take a look at our finished cars, let's just take a moment to look back and be reminded of what we started with. Here is the more faded example. Perhaps it's been left out in the sun more often, or maybe just lower quality paint. Who knows? It's got missing decals on the top and faded decals on the side, and a worn out faded base. And here it is after restoration. The old faded paint job replaced with a clean new one. Some nice new decals added to the sides and the roof. The base has had a new silver paint job, and it has some nice new wheels. If you enjoy these TV and movie car builds, remember to check out my Patreon Movie Car Miniatures Instagram pictures. He does some little dioramas with movie and TV cars in them, and they're really cool. You can just find it by googling Movie Car Miniatures Instagram. And here is our less faded example. It's got a much more chipped paint job, however. Again, missing decals on the roof, and the base is looking fairly worn out and shabby. This one also had the more worn out set of wheels. And here is our second Ertl Dukes of Hazzard generally after restoration. Again, the worn out old paint job has been replaced with a clean new one. It's got some nice new decals. I've given it the nicer set of original tyres from the other car. The base has been repainted silver. All in all, it's looking much more like the generally should. Now I'll just take my usual moment to welcome all of my new subscribers and give a massive thanks to everyone for the great comments and likes on my videos. And as always, an extra special thanks to my awesome Patreon supporters. I'd like to welcome my newest Patreon supporter, Yanoki Gustafsson. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thanks heaps for the support, I really appreciate it. If you too would like to support the channel and see a little bit of extra content now and again, check out my Patreon link in the description below. Thanks heaps everyone for watching. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe.